Well, today, NASA is gearing up for the rollout of its Artemis 1. Meantime, NASA researchers are sharing some of the first images from the James Webb Telescope. It's a photo of a distant star surrounded by hundreds of far-off galaxies, and we'll show that.
NASA has just announced it spotted the most distant star ever seen. Here's a look at the star that NASA is calling Earendel. The name translates to morning star in Old English, and old is Earendel. Apparently, it formed less than 1 billion years after the Big Bang. The newly discovered star knocking down the previous record holder for the farthest star. The light of that star, named Icarus, or Icarus, I should say, took 9 billion years to reach Earth. Earendel took nearly 13 billion years. The discovery comes as the rival James Webb Telescope captured this stunning first-of-its-kind image of another star just weeks ago.
But all of the mass of that cluster, many, many hundreds of galaxies, is actually warping space and time itself. You know, there was a cosmic coincidence, and the star so far away was actually magnified thousands of times brighter than it should be because of a natural lensing of space and time itself.
A storm is headed our way, and we're not talking about exactly what you may be thinking.
But there's another one happening today. It's called a geomagnetic storm.
Scientists say that these storms happen when the magnetic field of a solar flare interacts with the Earth's magnetic field. Now, weather forecasters say in the last week they saw 2 separate eruptions from the surface of the sun.
We had one eruption early on the 28th of March, and that was headed towards Earth, and now we've had a second eruption behind that one. And so these two are combined now and both heading towards Earth.
$58 million Americans are on high alert right now as dangerous storms are expected to hit the deep south.
The strong line of intense storms is stretching nearly 800 miles, triggering tornado warnings and watches. Earlier Wednesday, at least 7 people were injured when a reported tornado hit northern Arkansas. The local school district posting images of this elementary school gym now destroyed. And in Nashville, Tennessee, paneling fell 5 stories from the side of a hotel downtown.
Thousands of residents around the Philippines capital have been forced to flee their homes after a volcano eruption south of Manila. The Taal volcano, located in the Batagans region, was seen producing a white plume of steam and ash 1.5 kilometres into the sky on Saturday. Magma came into contact with the water in the main crater.
There have been volcanic earthquakes and concerns that further eruptions may occur, with experts warning of possible fast-moving gas and tsunami in the lake.
We're getting a new look this morning at mysterious objects deep in outer space. You can't see them with the human eye, but with the help of a telescope that observes radio wavelengths, scientists have captured their best image yet. I can't wait to see it.
Now, astronomers in Australia first found these mystery objects 2 years ago. Here they are, the odd radio circles, or ORCs for short. They're rings of faint radio emissions that surround a galaxy. Only 5 of these circles have been spotted since its first sighting in 2020, but they're massive, measuring about 1 million light years across. That's 16 times bigger than the entire Milky Way galaxy. Too faint to be detected before now, this new data from South Africa's Meerkat telescope has enabled researchers to see that ORCs are centered on a galaxy, and they've narrowed down the ring's possible origins. Whether it's the result of a huge explosion at the center of a galaxy or a starburst shockwave triggered by the birth of stars.
At the time that we saw the establishment of it, some folks balked. Now we have this Russia-Ukraine conflict playing out. We have some experts warning that this conflict could potentially extend to space. Does this now become a case study for why we saw this service created?
I think it shows just how complex the strategic environment is. And so it's very clear that space has become a warfighting domain, just like air, land, and sea. And what historically has been a benign, peaceful domain without a threat is no longer the case. We used to have the luxury of taking space for granted. As long as you could launch a satellite in orbit, that satellite survived what we called infant mortality, that it made it onto orbit and worked, then that's all you had to worry about. That's not the case today. And so we are very concerned about protecting and defending, and that's one of the big reasons why we established the Space Force, to be able to deter conflict from beginning or extending into space.